But then I'll be right back, eh? Let's drink. I'm back. Okay, 40 seconds and then the intro. For you too. Hello everyone and welcome to the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit for round 3 of the 2020.2 South African Sim GT series. Big welcome to Daniel Haynes as well, of course. Welcome, Daniel. Yeah, we certainly do. And yes, I live around, let's say about 3.5 hours away from this fantastic circuit. And just where we're watching the car from now is where I would normally sit when I go to the Sim Race Expo every year. Not happening this year, unfortunately. But always a thrill to be there and to see the cars running around right next to you. Yeah, certainly. And at the moment, we are watching Haynes in the Ferrari for Holden Racing in the 171, and currently 6/10 off the pace of Oliphant. Oliphant leading the way at the moment, so that's very interesting. Yeah, I don't think that is not sorted out. They're not putting that out.
So, chat, let us know if you got sound now. Okay, we got sound. Well, you haven't missed anything. I had some pearls of wisdom, best I've ever had all season, and obviously you just missed it.
All these audio problems I'm having. So, I spent a bit of time testing yesterday, so hopefully that's a little bit. Please, anybody watching, happy with the sound, please let us know, and I'll adjust accordingly. So yeah, back to the qualifying action now. It is 11.5 minutes remaining, just under. It's 9:30 on the server, so we're qualifying happening in the morning, daytime.
Yeah, so as I was saying, and I wasn't heard, I'll just go back and recap. We've qualifying times have been, you see there's quite a big gap first to third. There's a big gap over the midfield. Leslie Oliphant's been sat on his pole lap for quite some time with 1:53.256, which is quite unusual because in previous rounds we've seen a lot of track progression, and the fastest times have always been in the last sort of 5-10 minutes. In fact, pole's been snatched right at the end almost every round so far, so we would expect times to come down, but Leslie Oliphant's been there for a good 25 minutes, I think, with that time, and Jadrat and Esther haven't improved either. And then there's quite a substantial gap back to the midfield, which is much closer, so we're looking a little bit like a Formula 1 race at the moment. We need the midfield pack to close in with those top three. The usual three for this season, Oliphant, Jadwat and Esther, they've been superb and their times have been pretty epic. But yeah, a bit of track progression coming, I would think. So the last 10 minutes of this qualifying, we'll see how they get on.
And one of our favourites, Nick Hodgson, currently in 4th position. He's a second off the pace. He'll be looking forward to go a bit close to the front. And Christopher Langefeld there in 5th position for SRC. So right there, we're much closer than there by Chris Heineke there, Daniel. And Quay Claasen's in 7th. Gabriel Rousseau makes a return after missing the race at Bathurst at round 2. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on. Devanisha in 9th. Kieran Patterson ever improving there. Beats the top 10 for the moment. Just over 9 minutes remaining.
If we whip out the top three, it's incredibly close, isn't it? 4th to 10th place, split by 3/10. But the gaps at the front are quite astounding, really. Really strong lap from Oliphant and Jadwat. And then 4/10 back is Esser, and then he's in a bit of a class of his own. So Esser's in the Max Verstappen position at the moment, following the 2 Mercedes. And then we've got everyone else behind. But I think whatever happens tonight is going to be more interesting than Spa yesterday. So even if we don't get rain, there's no way that we're going to have as dull a race as we had in Formula 1 yesterday. So we'll look forward to some incidents, I'm sure, and a few bits and pieces to look forward to in Nürburgring. Jason's going to keep us entertained with his local knowledge, and I can just sit back and relax and watch his hometown. Looking forward to it.
I will do my best, no pressure whatsoever, but it's not like I live there, but yeah, I do tend to visit every once in a while.
No, when we go to Silverstone, then I'll have to shine, but for a German race, it's all you, Jason. It's all you. So we've got everyone out on track now. So, I mean, Leslie Oliphant, when he posted his time, he sat in the pits for a good long while, and he's actually back in the pits now. But you wonder whether they are waiting for this track progression we've seen in previous rounds, and saving their best till last. But obviously finding a slot to get a clean lap on not a massively long circuit is going to be a difficulty with so many cars on track. How many have we got this evening? 35. So it's not actually quite that bad. But yeah, everyone will be keen to be out for the last 5 minutes for sure. S is just leaving the pits as we speak. And we're watching Jadwat on track right now.
Watching Bashir Jadwat now. The Porsche. The 83 car for 80k, of course. They are on exit. Down nicely now, and they're into the Schumacher S's. Looking to go as quickly as possible through this section. Of course, it sounds a bit silly now, but put a curb on, tie on the curb on the inside and on the outside, and then you know you've got the corner absolutely planted. And you've got the left-hander. A lot of cars struggling to get stopped for this corner. Locking up of the front tires. That what does well through there now. See if he can improve on this run. Of course, a big welcome to all our YouTube viewers. It's great to be back streaming. Last time I did a stream was for the last round of this championship. A big welcome to everybody. Also, everybody new watching the stream.
I don't think Jadwat's going to improve here. On the broadcast app, he's down on his Delta, and he hasn't improved, but he's probably going for another flyer now. Yes, it's a very technical track, isn't it, Nürburgring GP? There's plenty of corners. This slow section that Jadwat's going through, the Mercedes arena section, is got to be so patient here on the throttle. Very technical little section here, but you can gain so much time through these slow corners, and making sure you got the perfect line and clean exit out of that arena section.
The track that I say, it's so easy to overdrive.
Yes, 100%.
Into the corner, it's much slower than what you'd normally do in another track. I know it sounds a bit strange, but
yeah, I agree.
It's very easy to sort of push too hard and unsettle the car, where sort of the track demands a more cautious approach and sort of faster exit. And I think a lot of the drivers in practice as well have been struggling with their patience to let the car go through the corner and then put down the power and not put down the power too early.
Yeah, and especially through that slow arena section, really patient there and just wait for the car to get around. You can be just get on the throttle too early, like you say, overdrive, and the amount of time you lose through there is quite staggering, really. Properly slow in, fast out is applicable there for sure. And then obviously you've got that in the opposite direction, you've got the Schumacher S's where you're literally trying to get around there absolutely planted. And if you get a perfect line, it's possible to do that. So very technical track.
Sort of deceptively tricky, actually. You sort of look at the layout; it's not that difficult, but
yeah,
it does tend
to get a perfect lap is certainly a bit of a skill round here. You've got to be good at all types of corners. That arena section's obviously chopped out for endurance races, so I don't mind that at all. They just skip that bit out. But yeah, well, it's still that huge gap. We've got Christopher Langeveld now and Craig Clarson's. They're improving, so we're seeing a bit of track progression because that gap is closing down to those top three. So Christopher Langeveld's dropped up to fourth and is only 7 tenths down. Before there was over a second back to fourth place. So Leslie Oliphant's still in the pit, so he seems pretty happy with his time. He's not too worried about track rubbering in times.
My GP race last week, where I thought I had pole position, only to see Jude Stewart sort of nailed at the end at the death and get that pole position.
As you brought it up, I thought I would. And it wasn't me. Would you just like to remind the audience of the age of your pole position sort of enemy last week? I think he's 11 years old, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's schooling guys at 11. So there's a lesson for anyone in chat that wants to join. We've got 11-year-olds thrashing us. So you're all welcome. But if you're really quick and you're under 11, you're maybe a little bit less welcome. Or don't tell us your age, because it's a bit embarrassing for us old timers when we get schooled by the school kids, literally. But he had a great race, didn't he, Jude? He won it as well, didn't he? Division 2. Yeah, very well.
Did a great race with Jude. And
You'll be
Miggy
stripping
as
that
well.
amateur. You'll be stripping his AM title off him pretty quick, I imagine, Jason, won't you? He's going straight to pro.
Yeah, he should be straight to pro, of course, especially after that race. But yeah, no, it's absolutely very impressive, and great to see Jude doing so well, so young, and a very exciting prospect for the future, no doubt.
I'll avoid him in a race, just to keep my commentary clean. I think we've got a few quick kids with us at the moment. Jude's a Carter as well, so I think he cheats really, doesn't he? Yeah. He has real world practice. That's cheating, Jude. So Leslie Oliphant is literally having a drink in the pits. He's more than satisfied with his job that he's done so far this evening with his 53.256, which has been sat on pole for a good 30 minutes at least. So he's got his time out of the way. I wonder what he has been doing for the last half hour. But he's pretty confident that no one's catching him.
Hope he's not battling with a technical issue or something with his pedals or something like that.
No, I think he's just so confident in his time that is a quick time that no one's going to beat, because everyone else has been thrashing around in the meantime and not getting close to it.
Perhaps just mentally preparing for the race at hand. Coming up.
So S has improved. He's got to he got a 10th off his time. Not going to make any difference to his position because he's got to really improve a lot to jump up. But he was 6 tenths back, and he's half a second now. And it's so tight after Nick Hodgson down. Really is close in that midfield. We have to keep an eye on that midfield for throughout the race. If the front three check out, we'll be entertained in the midfield for sure. Very, very, very close times from Nick Hodgson down.
Just over 30 seconds remaining in Esadina in position, the second down. By Klaas is just 2 tenths behind him. Langvaart's there as well.
My Delta screen is showing Bashir Jadwat 2 tenths up as he comes around the final corner. If that is the case, this could be interesting right at the end. He has improved, but it's not enough. Oh, he has. He's gone pole.
Pole, Daniel. Well,
153.0. Yeah. So there he was. The track has improved.
Can anyone respond? Oliphant will not respond because he's chilling in the pits. Here comes Essa. What will this be? Will be go quicker, but does not improve in position wise. Quay Klaassen will stay in 4th. Langeveld's on his way.
I think Elephant might be a bit upset with himself, just sitting in the pits, happy with his time, because I mean that Jadwat's been trying for a good half hour, and it came right on the last lap. So we've seen it in previous sessions. Something to learn for rounds in future for sure. Great lap by Bashir Jadwat.
Jadwat showing exactly why he's a multiple champion there at SimRace South Africa. What can Langeveld do now? Can you see his delta there, Daniel?
Yeah, it's not showing any improvement. I think I only get to see it if it's improving. It's a little bit weird, this broadcast app, but yeah, I saw Jadwat 2 tenths up, and that was all he needed. He had an excellent final corner as well. Langeveld's coming across the line now. I don't think it's improved. And no, it hasn't. So I think he's the last man out. Got Danny Miller still out, but also is down on his delta.
Holden Racing McLaren. Chris Martinez car, in fact, number 4.
Henry Rowe is still out also and was up, but he's bailed out. So I think that's it.
The Bashir Jadwat will start from pole position this evening. Let's see if he can convert that to a win. that race coming up shortly. We're going to take a short break. Don't go away. Maybe mute for now. Catch that again after this. Welcome back to the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. We're 30 seconds away from the start of the formation lap. Do things a bit differently at Simmer South Africa. We have sort of a single file rolling start around the entire lap. Once Bashir Jadwat, our driver in pole position this evening, crosses the start line, the race will begin.
And is it me, Jason, or there is definitely clouds in the sky at least, isn't it? So there is still hope that we'll get something in the form of a little bit of a smattering of rain, and it won't just be reserved for Division 2 and 3 drivers. I've got Leslie Oliphant sort of slow off the line there, but he did eventually get away. It got me a little bit concerned that he had an error or a technical issue. But he has pulled off behind Jadwat.
Thankfully for us.
Yeah, I was very concerned there where he sat on his box and didn't leave, but he is off. So Jadwat clutched it right at the end, properly at the end. I think Oliphant had it so convincingly in his. He didn't think anyone was going to get close to him, and it wasn't a good margin that he had. But yeah, brilliant lap right at the end of the session for Bashir Jadwat. I think it's going to be pretty close at the start between these two Porsches, though. I have heard the Porsche is pretty strong around the Nürburgring, and we've got 3 in the top 4. So you would think that would be the case. Might need a bit of weather to mix things up there. I think Essa was looking forward to a wet weather race if he could, and we have got a slight bump in weather settings for this round. But yeah, at the moment, qualifying and the race is certainly going to start in the dry. I just hope that Division 2 doesn't get completely done over, like in the past, and have a monsoon race. I did suggest that if anyone wants me to watch the race and therefore guarantee a dry session, they've only got to offer me a bottle of scotch. I'm pretty cheap bribe, and they'll have a guaranteed dry race.
The drivers now preparing themselves mentally now, trying to warm up the brakes as much as they can. They'll be dragging the brake while putting the power in at the same time. Try and produce as much as heat as possible along this very slow formation lap. Where the drivers keep on complaining, oh, the cars are not warming up over the lap in this formation lap, but it is what they need to deal with. At the same time, not using too much fuel on this formation lap. Especially Jadwat to get himself sight from the start. Everyone seems to be behaving themselves in this formation lap. That's what we like to see.
The weather forecast at the moment for the next 3 or the next 10 minutes is just for cloud session, so overcast. So track conditions will be nice and cool for them. It is running at optimum at the moment. Jadwat will start bunching them up, but although they're restricted on their maximum speed anyway, aren't they? So it's not quite like the AC days.
Yeah. But Daniel, would you see a lot of drivers with the cars with their lights on already? Getting darker.
Yeah, certainly very overcast at Nürburgring. And what's the weather like there right now, Jason? And you look out your window.
Yeah, it is overcast in fact, so I think we actually got that right.
Got it pretty perfect.
And we are running a 3 times time progression this evening, so the race should finish around 6 o'clock in the evening.
Nice. So coming around the final corner now, and Jadwat will get the green light shortly. We're going to keep a real close eye on Oliphant at the start of this race because he is very, very quick. Very close and single file as they come across the line. There's a green light. Jadwat's off. Oliphant is right up behind him. Big braking zone into turn 1, and it's a long drag. Oliphant's already side by side with Jadwat. He's going around the outside. Jadwat's going to cover that inside line. Larsen's in the background and Langevelt's gone all the way around the outside of Esser.
He's trying, isn't he?
He's got the inside line into the arena.
Here comes...
very close between Esser and Langeveld. Nick Hodgson and Lischer and Heineke are also having a very good battle in the back.
Big Nissen being swamped by the Porsches, left and right.
Yeah, Heineke is showing Rousseau the way as well.
Gabriel Rousseau is getting in the mix in the 25. Great to see him back racing. And he's got Devin Lischer, I think is for company. Is it?
It's Patterson and Heineke. Heineke in front of him and Patterson behind. Yeah, Lischer's moved forward through the field. It's just our app is not updated.
Yeah,
he's now tucked up behind Hodgson. So he's had a good start, has Devin Lischer.
It's coming under pressure now from Lischer. Looking for a good drive onto the back straight on the run towards the NGK chicane.
In the meantime, the front two have checked out, basically. They're off on a race on their own, is Jadwat and Oliphant. It's sort of what we expected from the qualifying. S is just trying to keep on their tails, but he's losing time. He's a second down after a lap already. So front two Porsches are lightningly quick this evening.
So Leslie Oliphant, they're running wide on exits out of the NGK chicane. And that hasn't slowed him down too much, thankfully, but I think Esther would have noted that.
Lischer's tucked right up the back of Nick Hodgson in his Porsche, going into ready for the braking zone turn 1. Gonna be a big overtaking spot. This is a very, 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 very big braking zone, and if you can lunge up the inside, you pretty much have to concede the spot. But I think everyone will be protecting that inside line.
Hodgson doing very well to place the big Bentley where he needed to. Not too difficult being such a big car, but left Lischer nowhere to go.
That's got barge boards on the side of it, that Bentley.
Great to see all the cars so close together. I mean, it is only the opening laps, but good to see this carry on as long as possible. Hodgson closing under braking towards Claessens now, so Hodgson moving away from Lischer slightly towards Claessens. Claessens is right with Langeveld in the Lamborghini. Is the SRC number 46.
There's a proper train forming behind Langeveld at the moment, isn't it? Langeveld, Claessens, Hodgson, Devin Lischer, Heineke, Rousseau, they're all there. You want to be keen to try and stick with the pack, you don't want to drop off the back. This is struggling to keep pace with the front two, I think, that's for sure.
Comes Hodgson now. He's having a look at Claessens. Got the outside line. Oh, Claessens sweeps across the front of the big Bentley. Let's unset with Hodgson. Here comes Lischer. Looking for the inside line. Porsche backing for traction out of the chicane. And that's given Chris Heineke opportunity now to catch up to them. Watch that big distance down the long straight.
Yeah, Lischer's on the inside of Hodgson. He had a brilliant final exit. Very, very tight. Their drag race down into the braking zone. If Lischer can keep that inside line, but that Bentley is so quick in a straight line. Just pulled away there.
Nissen could not catch up to those two cars in front of him as well.
Yeah, Lischer's looks like he's got it though in the twisty section of the arena, and he's got Hodgson. He's gone wide in that first section. I think he's got track position now. He can make his car as wide as he likes through here. Very difficult path.
So we almost saw Chris Heineke into the back of Hodgson. Almost ended in tears.
Heineken and Rousseau are side by side. Patterson's not that far away as well. One mistake here, you go for a space and you can end up losing 2 places. Very, very, very tight in this midfield section.
Patterson has got Mark van Rensburg in the Lamborghini as well for company. He can't be too opportunistic.
So a good move by Alicia, and I have to say, it does look more and more likely this is a bit of a Porsche circuit with 4 Porsches in the top 6. Only exception being Essa, who we'd expect to see up there regardless, and Christopher Langeveld is always quick no matter what he drives as well in the Lambo. But yeah, certainly Porsche days. Porsches are enjoying this evening at Nürburgring. Want to make the most before we go to Spa.
Yeah, your favourite Daniel Marcus staying 2, looking strongly in 12th position. He just zoomed up into the rear of Mark van Rensburg's Lamborghini. Looking for a way past. Back to the leader now, Bashir Jadwat. He's pulled away from Leslie Oliphant. Oliphant starting to fall back into the clutches of Zahir Issa. It's a developing battle. And then, of course we've got the Langeveld train, spearheaded by the SRC Lamborghini.
Yeah, Jadwat's just started to drop Oliphant, hasn't he? And we sort of saw the same last time out when we were at Bathurst. Oliphant was super quick at the start, and then as the race progressed, it slowed up a little bit. I don't know whether the tyres or whatever happens in that midfield part of the stint, Oliphant just struggles to keep the pace with the front 2. Obviously he's still there at the moment, but Jadwat's just managing to stretch that gap. 1.6 seconds is one of the largest gaps on the field, actually, when you start looking at how tight the midfield section is.
What they could also be highlighting is a difference in strategy for Oliphant. He tends to go longer sometimes, so it could be that he's just holding back slightly just to preserve the tyres for this longer stint. But that's a speculation from our part. It could be.
I know tyres are such a thing in Assetto Corsa Competizione, getting it into the window, and with track temperatures changing due to weather, it's not as easy. Your setup can change. You can have last minute setup changes here that can make a big difference just based off track temperature alone, depending on what you've been practicing.
Michigan Spammers now in 13th position, being chased by Lawrence Sterner. Is Fick in the orange, Aston Martin in the 87. Got Shiraz Dada and Alan Patterson for company. Billy Calvinus right there as well in 32nd.
Well, Heineken's just made a mistake and went across the grass, and he's got Rousseau that's going to dive up the inside into the final corner, and he has done. So Rousseau snapped the pace.
Oh, Patterson.
Well, Patterson almost went in there and just touched the back, didn't he? So he's lost out, and he's going to have Mark van Rensburg tracking him down into the braking turn of turn 1. I expect him to be there or thereabouts. It's such a slow exit from Patterson. Patterson's really covering the inside line. Touch those two as they go into the braking zone. Marcus Stain is waiting to poach places behind. Very clean racing throughout the field, though, has to be said overall. Oh, I've got Nick Hodgson turned around, is it? No, someone's turned around? It's Chris Heineke. Chris Heineke's turned around. Just lost it in the Nissan. He's dropped right back behind Marcus Stain now. So he lost 4 places. I do wish ACC would have a live leaderboard, but unfortunately we've got to wait to sectors.
There's someone off in the background. Who is that? One of the Ferraris, was that? Audi is going to be Lindsay Rat, down to 15th, I think.
Just look how many Porsches are in the top 8. It is a Porsche circuit, isn't it? Nürburgring, my word. Favours the German cars.
Maybe something to do with the speed out of the slow corners, getting the power down. The engine hanging over the back.
Yeah, I'd have a big advantage in that Mercedes arena section. Heineke's really struggling now in his Nissan. He's dropped back another couple of places. Spammers and Stearns just went past him as he lost the back end again. So unfortunately he's going backwards now in the Nissan. Oliphant's managed to half his deficit to Jadwat at the front. So I wonder whether Jadwat made a bit of a mistake there. See, last lap from Oliphant 154.7 and Jadwat was a 155. There's only 3/10 in it, but yeah, Oliphant gained back some of the time he lost. He's sort of a bit of a to and fro between these two now.
Oliphant knows right with him there, Daniel. Good catch there. Mercedes-Benz Arena now. Let's see how these two cars go through the corners.
S is just desperately trying to hold on to these two as well. I mean, he isn't far behind, but yeah, he's certainly struggling to keep pace.
You certainly see a lot of cloud cover. Oh, we got action in the front of us. Odin McLaren turned around. One of the back
That's
markers.
Miller. It's Miller's spun.
Miller. Let's start the off-put Oliphant, I think, as Jadwat scampered away somewhat. Oh, big moment for Jadwat. Just run wide, not to understeer. And that's allowed Oliphant to half that gap now. On the approach to the Schumacher S's now. Oliphant using the curb on the right side. On entry and exit.
I sort of saw this at Bathurst as well. It's just the race goes in phases, doesn't it? A driver suddenly gets their car hooked up in a window and pulls a nice gap, and you think, oh, that's it, he's off, and then you fast forward a few laps and it switches again. So it's certainly phases for drivers as they feel happy with their car. I think tyres 100% play a part. But all of a sudden we're seeing Jadwat under a bit of pressure here from Leslie Oliphant. Gap will be around about half a second as they cross the finish line.
Back
and the
from
front three are really stretching from the field.
It already from, yeah. Breaking up very tight opening corner. In the Mercedes-Benz Arena again. Jadwat a bit better through this section this time round. Brings that gap back to Oliphant. Comes Christopher Langenfeld now with proper pressure from Devilisher.
Devilisher's had a good start to this race, hasn't he? He's consistently moving his way up through the field.
I think Lisher tends to battle in qualifying, mistaken, and then he comes good in the race, and he qualified pretty decently this time around. So.
I think the 45-minute sessions isn't long enough for him to get all the sand out of his boot of his car, because he loads it up pretty thick throughout the day. So whilst he's getting rid of his sandbags, often probably starts the race still with a couple still in there, and then yeah, he manages to get rid of all the sand and the ballast, and he's suddenly quick again. Amazing. He knows I'm only joking.
The weather's certainly teasing us, isn't it? Very dark out there.
Yeah, keeping an eye on the forecast, and it's currently just overcast permanently, so you think this is a British race, but yeah, Hodgson's just made a big mistake, and Rousseau is going to catch him into the final corner. Hodgson basically hopped straight across the chicane, missed it entirely. And yeah, Rousseau's nicked that spot, so we'll move up into 7th as they cross the line. Bentley's tucked up behind him though.
There's a Bentley. Rousseau goes defensive.
I think any car that isn't a 911 on this circuit is going to be struggling to compete, especially through this arena section. The Porsche just pulls away. So quick in the corners.
We've got traction out of the slow corners.
5 Porsches in the top 7 now. It's looking pretty ominous. You need a car from Stuttgart to be good round this circuit. But we got Spa coming up, so the Bentley, the Merc, the big buses will have a very good opportunity to take revenge.
Yeah, we saw
track.
Mark van Rensburg winning in the Bentley at Spa last season, of course. Yeah, I think
that's definitely the Porsche's weakest circuit, I think, for the 911. So they need to make they need to collect championship points here. It has to be done because they will be losing them in Spa, no doubt.
I must say, Daniel, the racing has been extremely clean this evening. Very proud.
Yeah, almost too clean. We could do with some accidents, guys. Come on, one of you. Even the dull F1 race yesterday had at least one crash. Good job, otherwise I wouldn't have had anything to watch. I fell asleep through half of it. But very, very good driving between everyone this evening. Very, very clean, but also plenty of battling and position swapping. Watson's coming under a bit of pressure from Patterson. Kieran Patterson now in 9th position.
Patterson works into Ferrari. In the slipstream with a big Bentley.
Here's the other Patterson. Alan Patterson's down in 33rd, sorry. So he's struggling this evening in the Ferrari. Something maybe happened to him.
Bentley just drives away from the Ferrari down the main straight. Big surprise there.
It's nice to see the characteristics of cars coming out in the sim, though, isn't it? Langeveld is up against the wall there.
Saw me in the background there.
So he's certainly no longer in 4th place. Was he dropped back to 8th, 9th, 10th position now? 9th place, I think he's dropped back down. Is he'll tuck in behind? No, he's Jan Spanners, miles back.
12th or 13th.
13th. Big error there from Christopher Langeveld.
Not sure if he was helped or that's his own error.
No, we just saw him off circuit, didn't we? I didn't actually see the incident. But I wonder whether he's got damage. He was up against the wall when I picked him up on my screen.
So making slow progress, now up into 5th position. Pulled away somewhat from Hodgson. Now you can concentrate on catching up to Quake Claessens in the sister team ATK car.
We all know how quick Gabriel Rousseau is. He might be a little bit rusty, but after a 90-minute race, he's always going to be there or thereabouts, and he's working his way up through the field this evening, that's for sure. So Claessen's been promoted into 4th place with Christopher Langeveld dropping out. So 1 PM track time, we said we go until 6. Sorry, Jason. We go until 6 PM this evening for the finish, do we? So there's still plenty of time for weather to change here. Devon Lish has dropped back as well, has he? Because he's in 7th now, behind Nick Hodgson. I wonder whether Lisher was involved with an incident with Christopher Langeveld. Yeah, I reckon we've missed an incident between Devon Lisher and Christopher Langeveld, you know, because they both dropped down the order. I think we possibly might have missed that. If you do a replay on the broadcast, you can't jump cars and go and check back on someone else's. I think maybe you can, obviously we can't do that now.
Yeah, I can do that, but when you're running custom skins, though, it tends to make a massive delay in the stream.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah. I mean, I'd rather take the custom skins, to be fair. They do look epic, so we'll stick with that. Hopefully, I think there's a few issues with custom skins in general, which I'm sure will get resolved by Kunos over some updates. Keep an eye on it.
The Oliphant's still hanging with Jadwat there, Daniel, just 0.8 of a second in it.
Yes, the gap grows, disappears, grows, disappears. Definitely goes in phases between those two. but they are consistently quicker than Esther, so the gap back there is 3.5 seconds. So 2 Porsches are checking out, but slowly.
There's Jan Spammers in the 11th position, having a look at Marcus Stone. Oh, Marcus Stone's gone deep in the brakes. The attempted passing maneuver, has it worked on Van Rensburg? Yes, it has. On the next goal, where has Van Rensburg gone into the wall?
Disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah, what happened there? It almost looked like brake failure.
Yeah, something definitely a bit strange on that one. He just went straight off on his own, didn't he, really? Christopher Langeveld jumps up
on his lap or something like that. Could be.
Very possibility. You forget that they're not actually in a car.
Ooh,
oh, someone else just shot straight off. Lawrence Stern just straight off into the gravel.
I don't think it's Sterner.
That's a very different approach or line. He's making his own circuit there.
That's what they call a rallycross rejoin.
Yeah.
Out of the Joker lap. Nice.
As the crow flies rejoined that one. I think he knocked 3 corners off this lap, but he's paid in the end because he's got Clue right behind him in the big Merc. Is he the first of our Mercedes? He is, I think. In 13th place. Lionel Clue.
Great looking skin. My favourite, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, it looks great, and it's very menacing, that front grille when you've got it tucked up behind you in your rear view mirror.
Got the right car as well.
Oh, you're a Merc fan?
I am.
Okay. I suppose you have to be.
Why not take that away?
Yeah, there's not much you can do about it. You have to be. So Devin Lish is fighting his way back now, and he's behind Nick Hodgson again. So Nick Hodgson and Lish, they love to race together anyway. Maybe he just got a bit lonely, wanted to see his mate. Oh, and he's just binned it as Lisher on the first corner. He's just lost it, but I don't think he's going to lose a place because there's quite a gap. Kieran Paston trying to track him down. Just pushing a little bit too hard on exit there. Lost the back end. A little bit like you say, overdriving is so easy. You get so keen to get back on the power. So this could come down to pit stops between these front two because it's that close that, I mean, less than a second if they come into the pit stop phases. Really, really could be that close a race if we don't get any weather to interrupt it, because these two are sort of checking out from the rest of the field now. This fuel will be burning off. I think we got the chat willing for some rain as well. So maybe all of us, if we can just concentrate our thoughts, we can get a little bit of a splash by the end of this race.
Governor in the number 2 Bentley, the chased by Chris Heineke. Of course, Chris Heineke falling back after the spin.
Yeah, quite close this little group with Sterner, Clue, Heineke and Governor. All running pretty close between 12th and 15th position.
Really happy about the clean driving. Great to see. We've come to accustomed to it here in some South Africa. And the guys putting on a fine show and see. As you said, Daniel, the driving is almost a bit too good.
Yeah, we moved from 8. I mean, we got so good at Assetto Corsa. I mean, literally consistency was in the 99% from most of the field in Division 1. That, yeah, the move to ACC, but it hasn't taken long for these guys to knock out that sort of consistency in a brand new sim as well. So that's why we have the weather. I've got Ryan Hill in chat. He's joining me in a little rain dance to try and liven this up a bit, because it's a little bit harder to keep 99% consistency when the track's wet. But yeah, certainly epic driving throughout the whole of Division 1 field for sure. We probably missed a couple of incidents, but everything we've looked at so far on stream has been very, very clean. Gabriel Rousseau's got himself up into 4th place, I noticed. He jumped Clarson's. So the old timer in Rousseau is now trying to track down Esser. It really is. I mean, you look at the leaderboard, look at all those Porsche badges. It's ridiculous.
One more Lano Clune after the chicane. He's got it wrong. He keeps it off the wall. But he's lost the position to Heineke. Govender must be close behind as well.
And side by side with Govender now down the straight. And the Bentley, we know how good it is down here. Not going to make it though, because we managed to get a good clean run as well. AMG Power wins out in the end. Those two cars must be pretty difficult through this arena section though, I think.
Dylan Dawes now with Turkey Swanepoel. This is the fight for 20th. Did I say that Dawes gets it all wrong?
He won't be happy with you later.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good three-way battle here for 19th. Hero and Okamp leading the way in the BMW. I think the Soul could be one of 2 BMWs in the entire championship. Fight here between the big cars. Slightly wide was Ocamp. Would just be his line, maybe. Extends the gap away from Swanepoel.
He's certainly a brave man in the BMW, because it is one of the most hated cars in the sim for sure. Just generally slow all round, I believe. Looks good. You'd think BMW would bribe Kunos a little bit to give it a bump. Maybe they were difficult when they came to getting their car skin, so and slightly lacking in power. So you've got Oliphant all of a sudden. He's got the closest he's been behind Jadwat, only 3/10 down, and it looks even closer on screen. So he's piling on a bit of a pressure. These two have stretched a 7-second gap to Esser in 3rd place, so it's between the 2 Porsches at the moment. But it's as close as they've been so far in this race. I think this is going to really come down to pit stop strategies. Whoever pits first can have a big advantage on the undercut and fresh tyres. Esser's having a real lonely Max Verstappen style race, isn't he? He's got no one in front of him, no one behind. Just doing the best he can in a Ferrari that's not quite able to keep pace with the Porsche. So just to remind everyone, we've got the Division 2 and Division 3 races on Wednesday evening, and they're both pretty full, Jason, are they? Division 3 are full, they look pretty full when I saw the screen.
I think it's 34 and 33 cars. They are pretty decent.
There's still spaces available if anyone wants to have a last-ditch entrance, obviously, but yeah, good. 2 full divisions to go on Wednesday evening.
Yeah, we can handle 50 cars per race. Yeah, and I'll be doing Division 3 hopefully on Wednesday.
Oh, okay, you're going to give it a go,
Yeah, if anybody new is wanting to join, come and have a run at me like Jude did, the 11-year-old.
Yeah, any 11-year-olds want to take on the boss, then sign up for Division 3.
Just one of gets a bit wrong, through turn 1. But yeah, so I'll be in the Mercedes-Benz, of course.
Of course.
There we go.
Is your first time out in ACC?
Yes. In sim race South Africa race. I think I only did one other online race in ACC when it came out basically. So very inexperienced, but I'll give it a go. See what happens.
Yeah, there you go. That's an incentive to join up for Division 3. Super tight between the front two. Oliphant is now 2 tenths behind Jadwat.
I think Oliphant wants to get as close as possible to Jadwat. If you can't pass them, then at least, as you say, Daniel, when the pit stop phase happens and he pits before Jadwat, he gets it undercut done.
Yeah, I think we've got 10 minutes or so before we're going to start to see people coming into the pits. But when it does happen, it's going to be crucial between these two, because a pass on circuit doesn't look easy or likely. So it might be a pass on strategy that could win this race. But yeah, you've got to be there to make it count, and that's exactly what Oliphant's trying to do now. Just keep really as close as he possibly can to Jadwat. Might do the opposite of whatever Jadwat does, but you think there would be an advantage to someone that can just pit a lap or 2 earlier.
I think if I was here in on 3rd position, I would be thinking about pitting a bit earlier and get that undercut time, put the pressure on the 2 in front. The 2 are approaching traffic now as well. They could play a big role.
Just a little bit too far back, isn't he, Essa? He's just not being able to hold on. The Ferrari's just not as quick as the Porsche. It's just simple as that, really. I don't think it's anything to do with Essa.
I don't think it's really got anything to lose. He's got a decent gap back to Rousseau as well.
Yeah, you got to just do something different, haven't you?
Maybe you can come in, sort of change the tyre pressures or something. Maybe there's an idea there as well. It's Alan Patterson moving aside there for Jadwat and Oliphant. Good stuff there. Acknowledging the blue flags. That's what we'd like to see. Next up for Alan Patterson to make way for would be Zahir Essa. Ferrari now. Look at Marcus Stan, who's very close to Kieran Patterson.
Here we go, and that's moving out of the way as well back there.
We're going to have it go into the chicane. Has a look, hops out of it.
It's not the usual place to make a pass, it's the chicane, let's be honest. Well, when you try it, you usually don't end up coming out of there. But tuck up behind this final corner and into the braking zone of turn 1, certainly. That is a spot. Staying very, very close to Kieran Patterson. Not close enough, I don't think, though. Tried to go. He went super deep, trying to go around the outside of Kieran Patterson. Can he get it done if he keeps this inside line? I think he might have done.
Wow.
No, he hasn't. Patterson cuts him off.
Patterson having none of that.
No, I thought he had it done there, Marcus Stang. Would have been pretty epic around the outside of turn 1, but not quite enough.
It almost looked like he outbraked himself into turn 1 and sort of just went with it. And went
Looks
for a move around the outside.
though, didn't it?
Yeah.
He knew where he had to brake, and he just counted a few more seconds and shut his eyes, and he managed to get around there.
Battling it out has allowed Christopher Langerfeld to join them.
Yeah, Staines just dropped back now, hasn't he? obviously Christopher Langeveld is a man slightly out of position, was running comfortably in 4th place before he had an incident that we didn't quite catch on stream. We don't know whether that Lambo's carrying a bit of damage possibly. So we're just seeing again these phases between these front two. It's almost like when they just push a bit too hard, they have to wait a couple of laps for the tyres to come back to them, because Jadwat's now pulled away from Oliphant. And it's not necessarily because he's done an epic lap, it's because Oliphant's been slower. Look at their last laps across the line. Oliphant was half a second back from Jadwat. Just definitely just sort of seem to go in phases as their tyre gets hooked up. Gabriel Rousseau is lapping the same pace as our leaders. So by the end of the race, if we can keep this up in clean air, he might be coming up to the back of Essa. So he is sort of 4/10 a lap quicker at the moment. Here's Gabriel Rousseau.
Langeveld pushing very hard, out braking himself into that first corner. Lost a bit of time to stay in. Then I'll be setting his focus on Kieran Patterson once again. Mark van Rensburg is very close to Adrian Govender too. Lamborghini versus Bentley.
We got some rain believers in chat. Dirk Brown believes that if it's 29 degrees and overcast this long, then it means a thunderstorm. But it's not Joburg, is it? So, not necessarily. In Europe, it can be grey for several weeks without any rain. That's just how we live. Especially in the UK. It can be grey for about 5 months there.
He's Swanepoel 19th now. Missing the Captain Nürburgring. Alan Pedersen now is zeroing in on Arno van Mansberg. Ferrari versus Mercedes-Benz. Pedersen's got a good drive out of the Mercedes-Benz arena. We're seeing the issue now with Mansberg. Pedersen's got it all wrong, unfortunately. And Mansberg scampers away. Out of danger.
So we're probably 7 minutes or so from the pit stops really coming into play. No one's pitted yet, have they? I can't see. Everyone's got a one by their name. So apart from guys right at the back that have maybe had an issue and been forced to pit, nobody's come into the pits early. We saw quite a lot of guys coming in pretty early at Bathurst and doing some different sort of strategies, but here it's looking very 50-50 split, I would have thought. 45 minutes, that pit lane's going to be absolutely chocker. And I think that's going to make a huge play in what happens in this race at the front, at least. Because S is just falling from these front two. These front two on low fuel are pulling away even more than they were. 9 seconds now is the gap. 9.5 seconds is RRS are back in 3rd place. So, but these front two, I mean, it's so easy to lose a second in a pit stop, isn't it? Unbelievably easy.
With Pedersen and Mansberg, this fight continues. So Patterson is on the commentary for the GP series and the TC series. Myself, Daniel.
Yeah, TC series has been epic actually.
Yeah,
really good viewing.
Huge success, yeah. Really happy about that.
Much more stressful in commentary, I have to say. 20-minute races, pretty full on. This is more of a sort of an endurance feel about it, does the GT flagship series. But TC just for a splash and dash sprint race is very entertaining. Highly recommend people joining that one. Of course, Alan Pastan had a little bit more success in TC than he has been in Assetto Corsa Competizione. Had a very good round of the last TC's championship. So really, we're hanging on for pit stops now, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
We're going to have some pit stops. They're all going to change, and then the rain's going to come, and it's going to liven this race up like you wouldn't believe.
Then Marcus Stayne's not going to change the weights, he's just going to keep going and win the race.
Yeah.
Just need to believe in the
Come on, Marcus, you can do it. I believe it can happen.
Oh, and Van Mansberg runs wide. This is Alan Patterson's chance. Can he sweep on the outside? Oh no, he's cut across and made contact with Van Mansberg. Did Mansberg move across on him? I'm not quite sure from that angle. But that certainly diffused that battle, unfortunately. These two also closing up to Nardis Fick in the orange Aston Martin.
Van Mansberg is across the grass right now. In fact, he's sort of parked. No, he's making his own circuit.
Back to our leaders now. Judd Watts coming up on some pretty hectic traffic at the moment.
Maybe a good time to pit if I was him.
I'm sure Oliphant will be watching this with a lot of excitement.
Yeah, this is the time for Oliphant to pit, isn't it? Do the opposite of whatever Jadwat does here.
Arno Clue being very generous, running off circuit for both of them.
That's the problem. Just too courteous here, aren't they?
Jadwat stays out. Jadwat's slightly slowed by the Audi in front of him.
Yeah, De Witt, that is, in front of him. Hugo De Witt.
Jadwat's got enough
Not helping him out there.
There's Daniel back to Oliphant. Jadwat puts the hazards on.
I think Oliphant lost his own time through traffic as well, hasn't he? Because it sort of swings and roundabouts between these two as they're fighting their way through traffic. If I was Oliphant, I might have looked at pulling into the pits there. Row on the outside. Pretty close dicing through these back markers, it has to be said. A little bit worrying for the guys up front to get something tagged.
Back into clean air.
So we're a minute away from halfway, and I am surprised that people haven't started coming into the pit yet. I would expect the pit lane to be very busy in the next couple of laps.
I wonder if they're thinking about the weather. But there's nothing on the forecast at the moment.
No, it's just consistent overcast at the moment for the whole race.
Like it's meant to be current 3 minutes and in 10 minutes, is that right?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether that includes time progression though. Yeah, I think in the past it hasn't, whether that's changed, but it's been pretty much consistent throughout this race, just overcast so far. I'm halfway through now. Jadwat coming through the chicane, and he misses pit entry again, as does Larry Oliphant. They're going to carry on for another lap at least.
S9 traffic.
Someone just appeared in the pits.
Yes, I'm not cruising to the pits. Here comes the Benz. No, he's just left the pits. There must have been another Mercedes-Benz that entered.
I didn't catch who it was.
It was
There's one on
Nürburgring
the
and
back
the Porsche. Wait, Clarkson's the first of the front runners in from 5th position.
Raymond Durkin is also in the pits. We're starting to get a few guys through now in the pits, but none of our front runners yet. This lap, there will be a few in this lap for sure. Quade Clarson's in the pits. It's our highest ranked driver so far. Marcus Stain, also Christopher Langerfeld. So who's going to come in out of Jadwat and Oliphant? That's what we want to see. And whether they both come in. If they both come in on the same lap, then all it's done is just neutralise everything. If one has a 1 lap longer, unfortunately, Oliphant's, this is about as far back as he's been for a while. He's just dropped off the back, and that could make a difference being a second and a half down on Jadwat as they come into the pit stop strategy phase. So Jadwat's coming up to the chicane now, isn't he? So is he going to pull in? No, he's gone on. Leslie Oliphant is gone on as well. No, he's pulled in. Leslie Oliphant's pitted early, so he's going to do the undercut, but he's 2 seconds down. Will that be a problem? So very, very close eyes on Leslie Oliphant right now as he's the first one to blink. Comes into the pit stop. He's going for the undercut on fresh tyres. Tyres make a massive difference more than fuel.
Yeah, Essa stays out.
I think S is just destined to finish where he is, unfortunately. He's just totally on his own. But Jadwat now will definitely come in for sure.
We clean there as well.
Yeah, no traffic, was there?
It's in big traffic now. Oh. No stays out. Hodgson and Kieran Patterson are in.
So Oliphant's still in the pits. I think if Jadwat pits this lap, I don't think it's going to be enough for Leslie Oliphant. Oh, Leslie Oliphant's got a drive-through penalty. He's sped in the pit lane or has done something in his pit stop because he's got a drive-through penalty. So it doesn't matter what happens now. That might have ruined his chances here, Leslie Oliphant.
And our chances of a good race for the win.
Yeah, that's a real shame.
Jadwat makes the same mistake, but I doubt it.
No, that's a real shame. That was I think he knew how important it was to get a good pit stop because that was his strategy, but he's got a drive-through penalty and if he's not careful that could cost him second as well. So Jadwat's coming into the pits now just as we thought he would do, but it's properly neutralised the tension, if you like, because regardless of what happens to Leslie Oliphant now, he'll be even more angry if he crosses the line in front of Jadwat and has to serve a drive-through penalty.
Nice and cautious is Jadwat.
Yeah, he won't know that Leslie Oliphant's got a drive-through. And he will know that he pitted a lap earlier, so he'll be keen to make a quick as pit stop as he possibly can and get out. Hopefully not the same error. Leslie Oliphant will be kicking himself. So he's coming around on the back straight now in towards the chicanes. Jadwat's still in the pit lane. Yeah, Jadwat's leaving now, so I don't think it would have mattered anyway. Because Leslie Oliphant's only just going through the chicane section into the last corner. Obviously, Jadwat comes down at the end of the pit straight, so it wouldn't have made a difference. The undercut wasn't successful. But now it's whether Leslie Oliphant can keep his second place. I don't think he can. He was, what, 9 seconds back from from Essa, who coincidentally is going longer in this race and is now leading in first position in Zaire Essa. So is there a... We haven't had someone so up front to get a drive-through. Is there a time frame when they have to serve his penalty?
Good
you
question.
Can't just carry on driving.
Within 3 laps, I think it is.
Yeah, it should be.
Let's see what happens. Yes, is just staying out a bit longer to see what happens with the weather. I mean, if it has to start raining now, then he would be in the right position.
Yeah, I think Essa might have done enough to poach second place here once Oliphant's served his drive-through. Certainly going to be more than 10 seconds penalty that will be driving through the pit lane.
Mr. Rousseau in from second with his pit stop.
So Essa's definitely fueled to go longer. Unless it's significantly longer, he certainly won't be pulling any tricks against Jadwat, I wouldn't have thought. It'd have to be significantly longer. Another drive-through penalty for Edwin Govender. Guys, you got to practice your pit stops. Totally ruins your race if you get a drive-through. We see a couple of guys come foul from it every single race. Thinking next time round you get a stop go 30 as well, which is that's properly the end then. So Leslie Oliphant, what's happened here? He's served his drive-through and he's come out and he's got Nick Hodgson right next to him. He's got the inside line in the Bentley. So he's dropped down. Dived up the inside of Nick Hodgson again. He's trying to cut his way through the field now. Super frustrated, I think, in the... He's down in 6th place. Yeah, he's down in 6th position. Only Essa to pit. So it's really, really cost Leslie Oliphant that drive-through penalty, speed in the pit lane. Meanwhile, Zaire Essa is generating his own fuel in that Ferrari. Never thought of Ferraris as being very fuel efficient, to be quite honest. Maybe they've got an endurance tank strapped on it. So, as we said, Zaire Essa's lap times are still very, very solid. 155.5 he was across the line on the last lap. He's looking after his tyres well, and it's not costing him lap time. So as long as he's got fuel, he might as well stay out.
Ooh, when Hodgson gets it all wrong out of the chicane, up the inside goes Oliphant. In the final corner, he's got that move done. Can Hodgson come back at him now? No, he can't. He's quite a way back, isn't he?
Yeah, man out position with Oliphant, isn't he? Yeah, Oliphant's going to be frustrated and be trying to fight his way back through the field in a little bit of a Porsche train there. We've got a Ferrari at the top of the grid now. Doesn't seem to need to pit. This is very interesting. Essa's done something different here from the rest of the field. He's staying out long. He's stretched very, very long in this first stint. 35 minutes to go in this race. This is where lap times are key. Trying to keep it up. Adrian Governor's got a stop go 30 now. just gets worse for him.
Normally 4 track limits.
Or maybe not serving the drive-through. I'm not 100% sure. We've seen this before.
Van Rensburg fighting up with Lionel Clue. Over 11th position.
So Bashir Jadwat on fresh tyres is super quick. 1:54.7, his fastest lap of the race last time round. So Essa, he's 150, yeah, 156 dead. So he's losing 1.6 seconds that last lap to Jadwat. So he's definitely, I don't think any strategy call is going to be enough here for Essa. But he will probably cement second place because of Oliphant's issues. But Jadwat's our real race leader at the moment, and he's lapping as if he is as well with 1:54.4.
And if we look towards the forecast, we see a sun sticking up the clouds there.
Oh no!
It will not be raining. You can see the sunshine breaking through the clouds into the cars as well.
You know what's going to happen, don't you? We'll finish this race. We'll cut to a practice session. It'll be pouring with rain. I'm saying the last two races will be like that. Destined never to see a wet weather race unless I tune into Division 2 on Wednesday, where they'll be cursing your server settings. It happens every time. You can't win, can you? You should have different settings, I think, for Division 1 and 2.
So, of course, Zahe Essa won't be liking that. I think he was holding out for a bit of rain. But it would take him down to the ground at the moment.
Yeah, he needed something, didn't he, to change it. I don't think there's nothing in the strategy book that can claw back. Well, it's probably about 15 seconds now to Bashir Jadwat, at least, I think, by the time he comes out of the pit stops. But at this rate, he's going to have a splash and dash finish, is Zahe Essa.
All right, in saying it's been quite close between Essa and Rousseau.
It could potentially be. I mean, Rousseau's not. I'm just looking at the lap times. Rousseau's not particularly quicker. 1:55.8, and before the pit stop phases, he was, I think, about 7 seconds to claw back. But no, Essa's losing time now. 1:57 he was across the line. It's a couple of seconds here. You're right. It could be very close to Rousseau.
There's one to look out for.
Jadwat's just in a league in his own. 1:54.8, 1:54.7 the lap before, 1:54.4. He's the only man on the track anywhere close to the 54s. He's loving this circuit at the moment. He's not got Oliphant squished up behind him like he's had for the first half of this race. Bit of freedom to enjoy himself, and he's got into a bit of a rhythm, I think. The sun's coming out. It's definitely coming out. It's brightening up. Lights will be going off shortly. Yeah, it's a shame because Leslie Oliphant is the only man on track that's also lapping in 1:54, so he's right there at the pace with Jadwat, but that drive-through penalty just so costly. I mean, it very well could have been the only opportunity he had to win this race was through pit stop strategies, but that's the last thing he would have wanted, is to pick up a needless drive-through and find himself all the way back in 5th now. And he is in true 5th as well. He's not going to have Essa anywhere near him, I don't think. And Essa's in pits. Essa's in the pits.
Yeah.
He's in and out.
He's quick, isn't he? It was a splash and dash, wasn't it?
That really was quick, and it wasn't as close as I thought. I thought Jadwat would be way up the field, but he's not. He's not at all. Very close between those two, as they're both in the arena section. I was thinking that Jadwat was a good sort of 12-15 seconds up the field, but he wasn't at all. So Essa had the quickest pit stop ever. Shows you how much the fuel time is that it saved him in his pit stop all the time he was losing on the track, because he was lapping a good 2.5 seconds slower at one point. But that's job done for Jadwat now, really. He's just going to cruise his way to the finish, because I think S is going to match him on pure pace, to be quite frank, in the Ferrari. This is,
we're going to keep a look on that gap, though, and see what happens next.
2.7, way closer than we thought it would be.
Of course, he's going to have much fresher tyres towards the end.
He will, but Jadwat's lap times, even the lap before he pitted, was still a 55.5. And S's fastest lap of the entire race is only a 55.0, not being able to get into the 54. So I think Jadwat's got him covered every which way he looks at it, to be quite frank, in the 911 at Nürburgring at least.
Well, the gap shot up by half a second already.
Yeah, I just don't think he's got the pace to keep with the Porsches. The Ferrari, he's doing an exceptional job, being the only car that's not a Porsche in the top 5. But it just cannot keep with them. We thought it might be closer to Rousseau. It's not at all, though, is it? Rousseau finds himself a long way back from Essa. Waiting for the sector times to update to tell us exactly how big that gap is, but it's quite substantial. Oh, it's massive. This must be 20 seconds. 33 seconds. It's huge. So the incredibly short pit stop that Essa had really made a difference. I mean, it's cemented his second place, that's for sure, and it would have been enough to probably give Leslie Oliphant a bit of a run for his money, even if he didn't get the drive-through penalty. I think Essa obviously did look to just do something a little bit different with strategy, probably knowing that he was going to struggle to keep up with the Porsche on pure pace.
All I can think is that he started very heavy on fuel.
Yeah, super heavy on fuel, but I think his out-and-out lap time is just not there. We'll watch it now as he's on light fuel with fresh tyres, if he can finally get into the 54s. But I think the Ferrari just isn't as quick as the Porsche. It's just simple as that. Questions of why did Wesley get a drive-through? I didn't actually see a drive-through there, but it looks like most drive-throughs are a result of speeding in the pit lane.
It could just be misjudging the brake marker for the pit lane and just overshooting.
Yeah, super easy to do. Obviously, we got so used to Assetto Corsa where you can just launch it at the line and it auto brakes for you, which to be frank is a bit ridiculous. I am glad they have changed that. We're gonna have more accidents in the pit lane because they would lock your tyres. It was a bit stupid. So much better that you have to modulate your own braking. But as a result, we get drive-throughs. And unfortunately, in this race, sort of stolen it a bit from us, from Leslie Oliphant and Jadwat, because those two were going to race it out for the whole of the 90 minutes, I think, without a penalty.
Good race here between Oliphant and Claessens for 4th position. Oliphant up the inside. Got their job done. Nicely executed. He finally composed himself after his pit stop mistake.
I was just thinking, we've lost a Porsche, and it's Devon Lisher who's dropped back into 12th place. So I'm not quite sure what happened to him during the pit stop phase, but he's lost loads of places. So he was our other Porsche. We had 5 in the top 7.
We think contact with Langerfeld, which dropped him back, and I think there was another sort of half spin that we didn't see.
Yeah, it seems to be even further back, doesn't he? Because Langevelt's back up into 8th now. And Lisher was lapping around with Hodgson for a good spell. So that's something we missed there with the other Porsche dropping down the field that was right up there.
Raymond Mooney says he reckons that Essa did not take tyres, not change his tyres.
He went so long as well that his fuel time would be significantly less. Very well might have just double stinted the tyres. Lapping still only 55.8, so he's good 0.8 off his best lap of the race.
So that makes sense if he didn't change tyres.
I mean, he had to do something different, but to be quite frank now, he's probably looking on his live relative. He's got Jadwat in front of him that he knows he can't hold. And he's got 33 seconds behind to Gabriel Rousseau. I mean, there's not really much point in pushing it. If I was him, I'd just be coasting for 25 minutes. I mean, you've got second place sorted. It's quite a satisfactory night out in a Ferrari on a Porsche track, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, he said it's actually a very good damage limitation run.
Yeah, he probably thought third was the best he could get at one point, but yeah, getting second at Nürburgring and then moving on to Spa, I think he'll actually be quite satisfied with that.
Because Jadwat and Essa were tied in the Drivers' Championship coming into this round. If things stay the way they are now, Jadwat will move slightly ahead of him by a couple of points. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens at Spa.
Yeah, it does put the pressure on Essa, knowing that that is a track that he really does have to capitalise on. Because you think to yourself, you can't lose out to the Porsches there. Is that the next round? I'm just assuming I will check.
Yeah. Is it back Zandvoort?
It's what, sorry? Zandvoort next year. Spa's last, isn't it? Or
in Suzuka.
Yeah. Suzuka was interesting because we had that last season, and that seemed a little bit more mixed, didn't it? Because we had the Lexus looking brilliant there as well. We had a bit of a mixed weather race, so that might have changed things up a little bit.
I think that was one of the best races we've had in ACC.
It was a superb race. And it was because we had some rain. Yes. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there. I think Division. I'm putting out a little bit of a request that Division 1 service settings are slightly different from Division 2 and 3 next season or next round. I don't think the Division 2 guys deserve rain. They seem to get it every time the Division 1 guys don't. So looking through the field, we've got gaps pretty much everywhere, haven't we? There's not...
Except there isn't much of a gap between Henry Leroux and... who's that? Leon Leroux, 418?
Two Roux fighting each other out.
Henry has moved away now from Leon.
Neil Berger's very tight up the back of Brent Lindsay Ray here in the Porsche. They go into the final corner. Berger's tucked right up behind the Audi. We know how quick that Porsche is in the arena section.
Berger's very defensive, in fact overshoots.
Yeah, it's different lines. Berger's just got a little bit too squirrely on the throttle there and stepped out. Otherwise, I think he had that made, you know.
Just off put there by Lindsay Ray's way around the first corner.
Yeah, totally different lines through that first corner between those two cars. Would definitely be a bit more off-putting. Happens to me all the time. You tend to follow a car through and go, what is going on there? If it's not the line you usually take. think this is the tightest gap on circuit at the moment, because apart from that, everyone's spreading out just a little bit. Devon Lisher, I'm just keeping an eye on him as well, because he's catching up. Lionel Clune was within a second window, but Nürburgring is half a second behind Brent Lindsay-Ray here.
The other battle to look at is between Government and Ocampo for 25th. The 17th in it between the two big cars, the BMW and the Bentley.
Yeah, just keep a close eye on those three gaps, because the rest of the field is really starting to spread a bit, unfortunately for us. To go hunting for position swaps.
Edwards gapped Esser now, gap up to 8.7 seconds. Well away.
I've got Alan Patterson in chat reckons that it's mandatory for a pit stop to tyre change. I don't think it's mandatory to tyre change, it's just mandatory to have a pit stop. You can keep tyres if you want to.
Yes, sir.
You just have to do a pit stop.
Pit stop.
That's always been the case in AC. If you wanna double stint your tyres, you're more than welcome to, but you have to do a pit stop. We've had splash and dashes one lap sort of right from the end in past races, where people have just taken their pit stop just because they have to. But yeah, we'll check with Esser at the end. It just seems so quick, didn't it? Like super quick. There was a splash of fuel and he was off.
Lisher and Lionel Clune are quite close to each other. This is
Yeah, that's one of the other gaps we mentioned earlier. Lisher's definitely a little bit out of position. He's been a bit up and down, has Lisher, in this race. Been up into the dizzy heights of sort of 5th place and now back down in 11th, 12th. Yeah, a bit of uncertainty in chat whether he did take tyres or not. I'm as uncertain as you lot are, so we'll definitely just be asking Esser at the end of the race whether he did or didn't, to be quite frank. As far as I was aware, a pit stop is a pit stop. It doesn't matter what you do. As long as you stop in your box and get serviced in some description. Certainly that has always been the case in the past, but ACC, I'm not 100% sure. I'd need to actually physically done it. I haven't actually done a race in ACC on the Sim Race Africa to know for sure, but in Assetto Corsa you definitely didn't have to take tyres if you didn't want to. We just got so accustomed to GT3, the quickest way in Assetto Corsa being 50-50 medium, didn't we? We just got so used to it, and any time you tried to go off of that strategy, you just ended up it just didn't work out for you. It just wasn't the quickest way. So it is nice to see something else just being tried at least. I think Esser in the Ferrari against the Porsche has probably thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. Doing a bit of a Max Verstappen, just you do the same, you get the same. Try something different, and you never know what will happen. And it might have been enough to get him at least fighting for second place against Oliphant, but with Oliphant's drive-through penalty, it sort of gifted Esser the second place regardless, and the gap's so massive now that I don't think it would have made much difference whether Esser took tyres, didn't take tyres. He had second place nailed down. In fact, Rousseau is catching. I mean, the gap was 33, 34 seconds, and it's down to 31. But I mean, what difference does that make now? When you know you've got that much of a comfort spot, you're not taking risks if you're Zaire Esser right now. I think you take your second place and run. In fact, I'm looking at his lap times. His last one was 1:56.2, very average for Zaire Esser. I think he is properly in coast mode right now, and is happy with his second place. 14 minutes to go in this race, and the sun is coming out in Germany. How disappointing. Jason, I can't believe it. I had hopes for this one. Spa, it has to rain. It has to. I couldn't believe it didn't rain yesterday.
Yeah, it's just so difficult to get the settings right. It seems to be
either
it's like thunderstorm type weather, or it's overcast.
It looks like there's not enough settings really. You could really do with one that sort of dictates what the maximum weather could be, because equally we don't want a boat race out there. That's ridiculous. That's the last thing we want. That'd be worse than anything else, actually, to be fair. So yeah, you can't go stupid with the settings, but yeah, it doesn't appear that's an option for us. So it's a bit of a steady one. I think the only boat race we've had was it Barcelona Division 2? I remember that being absolutely outrageously wet. So unfortunately, the lower divisions seem to get nailed more than our top guys, and the top guys could really do with something to test them. I think we'll get it at some point. I'm sure we're going to get a Pastor Maldonado win at some point from nowhere in the rain.
Oliphant just half a second behind Rousseau now. Oliphant really like to get into the podium if he could. The gap has stabilised, I think, over the last 2 laps or so.
Oliphant's done well to crawl back time, to be quite fair, and if he can get Rousseau, then he really has been a quick driver. It is very unfortunate we saw a drive-through. Really, it sort of robbed us of what could have been between the top 3, but I think as it stood, we did see Oliphant come through a full lap, and it wasn't enough, was it? So I probably would have been just as you were. But yeah, I think Oliphant just really knew that pit stop window was his only opportunity to get a pass on Jadwat. He just doesn't make mistakes. I mean, I haven't seen Jadwat make anything more than a very slight wide. We're not talking any mistakes where you poach places. These guys are so consistent in GT3 these days. Properly ridiculous.
Only it is the Oliphant is 2 seconds behind Rousseau. Like an error there by Oliphant. Use that battle for the moment. Down the tower.
So their last lap times were literally identical, 55.4 between Oliphant and Rousseau. That can't be the case this lap, surely, with Oliphant must be dropping back. Yeah, Oliphant was 57.1, so yeah, definitely made a mistake there and dropped what he made. Probably going to be running out of time now to get 3rd place, I think. Just going down to Lionel Klug on Devon Lisher. I mean, I assume Lisher's actually passed Klug because he's up in 10th place, but the gap's quite fine there. We missed Lisher's pass, unfortunately.
Still got Jadwat approaching him to put a lap on both of them.
Yeah, and he wants to be a bit careful, these two, because they are fighting for position and they're one of the tightest gaps on track. Not fully aware of Bashir Jadwat coming up right behind them. So hopefully Lionel Klug gets out of the way. He's got blue flags. See blue flags waved there on the side of the circuit. He's just got to lift here and let Jadwat through on the inside. That's exactly what he's done.
I think he's going to try and follow Jadwat and hopefully go past Lish in the process. See what happens now.
But good back marker driving there from Lionel Klug. He gets a thumbs up from me. And I'm sure he gets 2 thumbs up from Jadwat. If it didn't mean he had to take his hand off.
Impeccable this evening.
Yeah, too good really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just too good. They're just too good. We're going to have to start putting obstacles in the way. I think we can't even leave a commentary car on the pit lane in ACC. They really are too good.
Big started by Lisha. He's not close enough to take advantage of it, however. But Jadwat's off and on his way.
No one lost out really there with traffic, did they? They're literally as they were between Lisha and Klug. Yeah, I have to say that we've now got a lot of weather forecasts going on in the chat, and it has been so bolted down, hasn't it? 29 degrees 35 throughout the entire race. Whether it's overcast, sunny, doesn't make any difference. I suppose it's later in the day, which would explain why the track temperature stays the same when it's sunny when it was overcast at midday. But yeah, as far as weathers go, and that's what ACC brings us is weather, it might as well be Assetto Corsa because it's been properly bolted as
it's a bit odd.
There's been a fixed temperature the whole time because even normal races. I mean, the last race we had at Bathurst, the temperature changed wildly, didn't it, as the day progressed? Because we had overcast midday and now sun at the end. We've had the most consistent race we've ever had in ACC, that's for sure. And as a result, we've had the most consistent driving as well, I think, because I think track temperature, tyre temperatures make such a big difference to lap times, whereas this one's been a sprint race almost. And Jadwat hasn't put a foot wrong all evening. It's been superb from his last-ditch pole effort right at the death, and he's made it pay. He's got enough time to even put his thank you hazards as he passed back markers.
Ian LaRue and Henry Rue have had enough of each other. That battle's still going on, just 3/10 in it. And Aston Martin looking to go on the outside of the Audi. He's going to make the move stick. Yes, he is he? Good fight the side by side down the back straight. But the Martin is through, look at that.
Rue and LaRue. LaRue's just a posher version.
The Rue's.
Through the chicane. Oh, LaRue's gone very wide. Oh, he's going to take him out.
Oh.
No.
Wow.
Well, Henry did well to get through there without damage.
He was super lucky there.
Yeah, very lucky. Didn't seem to be affected whatsoever, did he?
Just had the incident just in front of our race leader, Bashir Jadwat.
Yeah, a little bit later, and that would have... I think that's the only way Jadwat's not going to win this race, if something stupid like that happens in front of him. But yeah, Henry Rue ends up the winner there. Very lucky. Takes 18th place. Just for Matt in the chat, I think the dynamic weather is turned on. It's just not very dynamic.
No.
It's quite static.
But the track's gone down to 34. It was 36. Or am I wrong?
Yeah, I think as the day goes on, I think just the sun has counteracted the cloud at the start, and we've ended up with a 6-hour race progression that's almost the same all day. It certainly is changing, but just, yeah, not enough. Oh well, it's the way it goes. It's random for all of us. Me and Jason don't know what's going to happen. We log in just the same as the rest of you and hope for the best.
I would be a very rich person if I could sort the weather exactly as to how certain people would like it.
We got Leslie Oliphant now, who's managed to get his 2-second gap down to just under half a second from Rousseau, and he's got 5 minutes to go. I said that it wasn't enough time for him to do that, but he's got a few more laps yet. Rousseau's under a bit of pressure here. 55.1 was Leslie Oliphant's last lap out, which is a pretty epic time compared to a 55.9, so 8 tenths quicker than Gabriel Rousseau in the last lap. However, making a pass is very different, and we've seen Porsches neutralising each other throughout this race, really, to be honest. Sort of go around a bit in procession, don't they? Not too many passes between the same vehicles. So we've got a couple more laps to go, depending on our race leader when he crossed the line. Possibly 3 more laps to go.
Oh, Rousseau held up badly by back marker. It was only fun to the back of the Mercedes-Benz. Not too bad, but a slight tap. It's a love tap, I would say. And
yeah,
Rousseau
I think he was actually... He was trying to take up the slipstream, I think, and then didn't realise that Von Mansberg actually pulled out for him. I think he was trying to tuck himself up behind. He ended up losing, didn't he? It's going to be a tight finish between these two, Rousseau and Oliphant. 3 tenths, but it looks closer as they go through the arena section.
Much quicker.
We want a clean pass here if we can.
The battle for the last step on the podium, of course. And Oliphant will desperately get past Rousseau to really help his championship hopes if he can do that.
Yeah, and on pure pace, you have to say Oliphant has deserved a podium this evening, because if it wasn't for the drive-through, it'd be way up the track. But Rousseau, we know how good he is. I mean, he's an epic driver. He's not going to make a mistake. He's going to make that Porsche as wide as you possibly can. You can be sure of that. Oliphant will know that as well. These two know each other. They've raced against each other for enough seasons now.
In the slipstream. What's Rousseau going to do now? He's going to go defensive, surely.
Yeah, he's got a couple of
sticks it in the middle. Comes Oliphant.
No.
Oh, there's going to be contact, is there? No.
You can't make a pass through there, and Rousseau knows it as well. He needs a brilliant exit here, though, because turn 1 is the passing opportunity for Leslie. This is where, Rousseau is already going to cover the inside. Super defensive. He's going to make Oliphant go around the outside, and it's not going to happen. Brilliant driving from Gabriel Rousseau here.
Just to wander across the circuit slightly, just to off-put Oliphant.
But Gabriel Rousseau, he knows exactly how to drive defensive, doesn't he? He's a good sort of 6 tenths down on Oliphant's outright pace. But it's basically driving a London City bus as far as Oliphant's concerned. One more lap. Where is Bashir Jadwat? That's what we see. We can end up with one more. I think we are. We're going to get another lap to this race.
3 for Lindsay Ray in 16th.
Yeah, Bashir Jadwat's going to cross the line with 30 seconds left to go. We have one more lap in this race. It's not really what Gabriel Rousseau wants.
Give it a final push.
It's got to survive another lap of abuse as Leslie Oliphant is tucked so close up behind. 911 versus 911.
It was a good drive, but of course Oliphant back in the slipstream. I hope I think there's going to be contact now.
Side by side.
Oof! Sideways for Rousseau.
Awesome defensive driving from Gabriel Rousseau here. Oliphant, you feel like he has a bit of a weight. You want to be tight here. You've got to be tight up this front straight into the braking zone of turn 1. You don't want to be messing about trying to pass through the chicane because it's not going to happen. But it might have to happen now because it's the last time they're going to go into the braking zone of turn 1. Rousseau's gone defensive, not as much as he was the lap before. Not as necessary to go through the arena section. Experience from Gabriel Rousseau here is really paying dividends. He's not going to make a mistake.
Let's go for the move. Oh no, that's such. Oh, that was a lunge and a half.
Yeah, he's getting desperate now. He made the mistake of going at the chicane. He needed to be tucked up behind through the final lap corner and then down the front straight into the braking zone of turn 1.
Good stuff from Oliphant there. He backed out of it. He realised what he was doing. Okay.
In the meantime, we've got Bashir Jadwat coming up to the chicane already. And he will be taking the win of this race. He's had a fantastic race, great pole position, right at the death, comes through the final corner, and Bashir Jadwat is going to win Nürburgring GT3 and ACC. Super chuffed with that.
Big congratulations to Jadwat and the ATK outfit. Let's get back to this huge DAS at the moment.
Yeah, Esther's on his own anyway, so Esther gets a very happy second, I think. But yeah, it's all about, well, now the only lunge is into the chicane, but it's going to be contact. Or yeah, that's all that's going to happen here. It's not going to be a pass, it's going to be contact if he lunges up into the chicane. I think he's not close enough. But yeah, he's not close enough. Fantastic 3 laps of very defensive driving from Gabriel Rousseau, but literally made that Porsche 911 sideways wide. I mean, ridiculously wide, and he comes through to claim the final pole position, podium place. Very, very closely followed by Oliphant. He's going to be super upset with a drive-through penalty that basically just cost him this race.
Larson's just going to beat Hodgson to 5th position. Been watching that battle.
Yeah, super close between those two as well, isn't it, Claessens Hodgson?
Aaron Patterson will finish in 7th. I'll be happy with that. Patterson works racing. Christopher Langenfeld recovers to 8th position for SRC. Stain, we get 9th. 55 Ferrari. Oh, Lano Clues put it. No, he's really a lap down. So he's in fact finished the race already. Starting from the region.
I like the bit of excitement. So Bashir Jadwat's going to just stretch a little bit of gap in the Drivers' Championship as we go to Zandvoort for the next round and then Spa. But it's still super close between Jadwat and Esther, isn't it? I mean, we're talking first, second places. Very, very close between those two. I think it's going to go to the death between Jadwat and Esther this season.
So that extra race will still make things interesting this season. 6 races instead of the usual 5. Then wrap things up.
Green light, give it all you can.
Hey Daniel, I think that's a wrap on the race at the Nürburgring. Thanks very much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah.
I'll see you next time round.
Of course, this was a Division 1 race. Of course, we've got the Division 2 and 3 races on Wednesday evening. Both 30-odd entrance for both races. So I think it's about 67 in total on Wednesday evening to be racing. And if you want to join the racing at Sim Race South Africa, you're very welcome to fill out the sign-up form found on the website, simracesa.co.za. And yeah, you could be racing against me in Division 3 on Wednesday evening. And I thoroughly look forward to that. And of course, we've got the racing next week. I think it's the next round of the GP series. So yeah, all the best until Wednesday evening. Have a good one, and yes, goodbye. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yo, yeah, it would be nice if they could just sort of add like a setting for the rain intensity. That would be nice. So I studied that manual that they gave us for the service settings and the weather.